Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of SJU on Fandom. I am Danielle. I have got with me Eric. Hello and good morning. I've got Ed. I have got Riley. We have all got chairs, but we don't know how long that's going to last.
No. Guys, I almost got Final Destination by a chair like 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, I was real scared.
Look, it's going to be fine. We're one of these days we will be adults who know how chairs work, and I'm very excited for you to join us on this journey.
And one of these days, one of us is going to be full ejector seated out live on SJU.
Ryan's got his fingers crossed.
I do like the idea that it was because Eric didn't know how to sit in a chair. That's why it happened.
What is this? How does it work? I don't get it.
Just so everything, it's going to be fine. I promise. We're all adults and we're going to get through this together. Well, not Ryan. Netflix and Disney. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We are going to talk about some more animation updates from D23. We're going to get into some Star Wars spaceship hotel business, and then hopefully we're going to get into some Nathan Fillion. All right. So first,
hey now.
Phrasing. Okay, so
I'm going to a special hell.
Netflix and Disney prepare for their fall showdown. This is via Netflix and Disney Plus stuff. It's been a busy few days for Netflix. Netflix just dropped a lot of. Oh, here it is. It's the streaming wars.
Oh, ships at sea.
Charles Foster Kane.
The troops are ready.
Died today.
Got Moxie.
So it's been a busy few days for Netflix. They dropped a teaser and the October 11th premiere date for the mysterious Breaking Bad movie El Camino, and the trailer debut for The King, starring Timothée Chalamet, Joe Edgerton, and Robert Pattinson in a fantastic wig. Just real fine lace front wig work.
I hope he wears it as Batman. And it's like Batwoman's mask where it comes like the hair. Yeah.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. All right, so El Camino it's going to come out on October 11th, and then it's going to do a second run for a time on AMC. So the movie takes place after the events of the TV series and will follow Jesse after his dramatic escape from captivity. Sorry if that's spoilery, but Breaking Bad's been out for a while. Go watch it.
I mean, that's what the trailer shows too, is basically. So
yeah, so it's not too major. Netflix recently posted a short synopsis online. Fugitive Jesse Pinkman runs from his. I can't talk today. Sorry, I was sick all day, you guys. We're all gonna be all right. Fugitive Jesse Pinkman runs from his captors, the law, and his past. Sexy.
I think we all made a dramatic turn to the camera at that point.
His past.
Ooh.
So we've all got a chance to watch the trailer for The King. What were kind of your first thoughts? How is it looking to you?
It looks generic to me. Like, it looks like, I mean, the cast is great, and I'm probably gonna like it. But I just feel like how many times do I need to see these, like, he's the one leader, and we're all gonna have people getting their heads cut off and swords and like armies lined up, and I just feel like I've seen this trailer every 6 months for like since Braveheart came out.
You don't think the bowl cut makes it different and interesting?
No, I'm into that. Yeah, I'm totally into like this cool punk rock emo king. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, I felt kind of similar. And actually, Joel Edgerton co-wrote this movie, and I like some of the things he's been doing as a writer. But I'm a hard sell anyway on the the story of a king. Some of them are great, but they tend to feel kind of generic when you see a lot of those trailers. So yeah, great cast, but nothing yet that has wowed me about it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of these things where I agree that it's over and over and over again, but like trope, cliche, or tried and true story mechanism.
Right.
It's half a dozen one, six of the other a lot of times. And I think I'm watching Succession right now, which is like basically like rich porn. You know what I mean? Like the other episode I watched the other day, they threw away a bunch of lobster.
What?
They just threw it in the trash.
But I love lobster.
Dude, I'm talking about pounds and pounds of it in vats. They just threw it in the trash because something happened in the show. Bottom line is, these people are influential enough and have enough power to have a lot of drama happen to them. So we're always going to be interested in what the king is doing. And in this one, it is Shakespeare's Henriade, I think. It's based upon that. It's like Richard II, Henry IV, Part 1 and 2, and then Henry V. And I guess Timothée Chalamet is playing that's you, Goldman. Is playing like I think Henry V in the thing. So it's kind of I think it's almost like this tradition of kings, this epic, as far as upheaval and stuff. So, but yeah, doing it on Netflix, I don't know. Ridley Scott can't even get away with making us watch 3-hour stuff on that time period or time periods similar. So
Yeah, well, it was like there was that one like Ironclad that was out like a few years ago, and there was the one with Clive Owen at some point.
Right.
They all melt together in my head, and I used to love those kind of movies when I was younger, but yeah, I have lost track of which ones are which at this point.
I like the Shakespeareness of it. I like that it sounds, at least from what they were doing, that it's not going to be so much rhyming couplets, which is fine by me, because let's be real, not everyone can handle Shakespeare talk.
Yeah.
So it is really hard, and it's really hard to act and make it sound like something that makes sense to people, and not just like two dudes reciting poetry at each other.
Totally.
So, I'm gonna watch it if nothing else. I feel like this is gonna be a Bird Box where we all watch it and we all talk about it for like one day, and then it goes away forever.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. All right. So, who here were big Breaking Bad fans?
I was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was reluctant though. I really abstained until about the almost like I guess the last 2 seasons. Then I started watching a little bit, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna chill out until the 5th season comes out and gets over. And then I watched it all as like a giant movie, and it fried my brain. It was like being on meth to like watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I see. I binged the first few seasons, and then I caught up with it, and so all the stuff without like spoiling anything, but like the Gus plot line, and then onward from there was all watching it as it was happening. And I think it almost was. I was actually glad to be not binging it anymore, because it was a show that I definitely needed like a break in between episodes. Like, oh, okay, all right, we're all okay here. We're just like it was so intense. Like there's a again to just like tease and not spoil, but there's the crawl space episode, and like when after the crawl space shot, I needed that week, because I was like, oh, this is all going down right now, and I don't know what's going to happen, and I needed that break between it, just to catch my breath from it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually watched it weekly from the start. I was really into it, and it was a show my wife stopped watching, to your point, because it made her too anxious. I mean, she loved it, but it's like she doesn't like shows where it's like, he can get caught. Oh no, he's making things worse. So she was out.
That's what I mean. That's basically why the Breaking Bad. He's making things worse.
Yeah.
So
that should be the poster. He's making things worse.
So, are you guys psyched for El Camino? Does it look?
Yeah, it's like the thing is, it on one hand you could go, oh, don't touch something so great. That show they nailed. Especially we talked about finales, how hard it is to deliver a satisfying conclusion. Most people really liked Breaking Bad in its completion. So should you mess with and go past? Of course, they've already done this great spin-off prequel series that proved a lot of the naysayers wrong.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so Vince Gilligan still being involved, it's like he's given us the benefit of the doubt here, where normally I'd be like, this is cynical, they shouldn't do this. Because Better Call Saul is so good, I'm like, all right, see what you got.
100% I agree. I think we were living in a non-Better Call Saul world, and this was the first post-Breaking Bad thing we had that was set in that universe. I'd be really skeptical. But Better Call Saul was so good and so quickly. Like, it didn't have any of that, like, building, trying to find his footing. Like, it was solid from the get-go, and then onward and built. So I just feel like Vince Gilligan has, like, so much story to tell in this world, and I trust him with these characters and what he's doing with it. And so, and the fact that it's taken this long to get to it, and that he didn't just pump it out the next year after the show ended, seems like this is a story he knew he wanted to craft. Like, there's a reason now why he wants to tell the story in this way, which is why it's being done this way. So I trust it.
And also, I'd like to say, I am very interested in the adventures of the Nightwing of meth.
Meth Wing.
A lot of good taglines today, guys. The Nightwing of meth. That's another.
You know what I mean? He studied under the master.
Yeah.
Now it's time to cook up, baby. So I'm very interested in that. What happens to him?
It's not funny, by the way. The full title is actually El Camino: a Breaking Bad movie, which is just very funny because it sounds like a Star Wars story. And I think Breaking Bad is such an unlikely franchise, but so far so good. So we'll see what else they do.
We'll see what else they do. Don't do meth, kids. All right.
Do you think that El Camino is what he wanted to call it, and then like Netflix is like, we're going to make you add
even
Breaking Bad to the
AMC, who
title?
obviously is producing it with them, someone's like, we got to get that Breaking Bad name in there.
Oh, yeah. That only makes sense. That's not corporations being jerks. That's like, stop it. You can't.
Unless you're calling it Pinkman. Better Call Saul could just be Better Call Saul because everyone knew that's Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But if they're not going to put Jesse's name in the title, they're like, you're getting Breaking Bad.
Just put it somewhere. Put it in the corner. Don't look at it.
We'll just put this away for now. All right, so Netflix has obviously had some notable movies like Roma, but a lot of people have criticized some of their star-driven films by feeling like overwhelming. So underwhelming. Does this upcoming crop of movies feel like it's a strong one for them, or is it another one where you're still feeling like,
The vibe that I get from a lot of Netflix movies is that they are movies that the distributor was like, oh, this isn't going to play enough on big screen, so we'll sell it to you guys, and then it'll be a hit for you. Which is, I think, what like Bird Box is a good example of that. Like, I think everyone
That Chris Evans ones that just came out.
Yeah, where it's like, I still don't know. Like, The King seems really high budget, so hopefully, like that's not
a lot
the
of
case
horses
here.
and dirt, man.
And it's also, the question is like, what are these movies now? Ones that are, because I think Netflix has kind of shifted gears a bit to actually producing movies in house versus just like buying movies from other properties.
I think it's a split.
Like the Cloverfield one was very much one that was like kind of dumped off on them, and then this is like one where I think now like they're kind of starting with it. So I think it might be similar to their series, where like when like there's a lot of Netflix series, but some are really well developed and some are kind of like we'll just put it on this channel. Why not? So
Did y'all know that Riley is really good and smart?
I did.
Just wanted to remind everyone, just in case we forgot how good and smart she is. All right, so in the meantime, Disney Plus has debuted the first trailer and footage from films like Noelle and Lady and the Tramp, which will be available on their launch day on November 12th. On the movie front, it looks like Disney Plus in the meantime are going for crowd-pleasing family fare that otherwise might have played in theaters. Do we think this is a good strategy to get viewers in? I think that putting Lady and the Tramp on Disney Plus is very smart.
I agree.
Yeah, and watching, I don't know if they put the Noelle footage online with Anna Kendrick, and Bill Hader has Santa's kids. And on one hand, it looks very silly. On the other hand, I think it's going to play very well to the families who want to watch like a new Christmas movie with some very likable actors. So it just, it feels like it's some very smart programming by them.
It definitely feels like an elevated Hallmark movie, you know?
Yeah, totally.
It's like a Christmas Prince, but with a budget.
Yeah,
You know?
and with like these actors that you know are really funny, and they probably will throw in a little improv that you're like, that's a good one, Bill Hader.
Nice.
That wasn't in the script, Bill Hader. You threw that in.
You want to watch Fred Claus, but with your kids? Well, here's Noelle.
Is that in his writer? You have to say both his names?
Yes.
Like, don't look him in the eyes and call him Bill Hader every time. No, but I really think we're entering the golden age of different levels of movies. When our parents and our parents' parents were watching movies and stuff, and I feel like it was like, okay, there's TV crap that has Alpo commercials in it, and then there's movies, kids, and then that's all gone. That's all gone. Now there's like, okay, Netflix is Redbox in your house.
Right.
Deal with it, and sometimes you'll find a great thing in the Redbox. Most of the time you won't. And that's what Netflix is right now. Sometimes you'll find, I bet you The Irishman is dope. Is it going to be as dope as Casino or Goodfellas or Age of Innocence or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it might even be unlikely. But a talent like that on your Redbox, it's worth it. It's worth it for them to be that brand. So if Netflix is going to be the, not quite good enough for theatrical, that's a huge market. That's in my TV already. I love that. And if you want to go somewhere else for higher end fare, do that.
Well, and speaking of The Irishman, so this is via THR. They have been trying to figure out what their window is going to be for having it actually play in theaters, because chains were insisting on a 90-day window, and Netflix was not going to let it be that long before it ran on the service. So instead, it's going to be similar to Roma, where it's going to play in some indie theaters for about 3 weeks before the Netflix debut. If you don't live in a major market, you're probably not getting it. That's just kind of a bummer about it. And so they are continuing to struggle in theaters, and the argument over whether their movies are feature films, like Spielberg argued before he signed that Apple money. Apple check!
We're getting Apple money.
Getting Apple money, baby!
I money.
I money.
I money.
I paid.
So at least when it comes to awards, some people still consider them to be TV movies. How do y'all feel about that?
Well, I think building off of what Ed said about the realms of movies that we saw, like made for TV stuff and like feature films, and then like the Disney Plus stuff and like Netflix. I think that we are in this weird era where these kind of like mid-level films don't open as well as they used to,
or don't even get picked up at all.
Yeah. And if they do get picked up, a lot of times they get overlooked or they don't do well. Like I think everyone like lamented how bad Booksmart did in theaters this summer,
or Game Night.
Yeah, and if those movies had opened up on Netflix or on Disney Plus or whatever, they probably would have done way better and hit a much higher audience.
Yep.
And so, but then it's like a thing where now you're worried about like making money off of streaming numbers versus ticket sales. But I think that like with the one benefit that might come out of these streaming wars is that all these streaming services are going to have to start pushing themselves to raise the quality of their content to like outcompete with each other. And so I think that like Disney Plus is making these movies that are like that maybe 20 years ago would have played in theaters, but now are maybe like but they might have been like ones like maybe I should have direct a video. We're not sure, but now it's like there's a spot for them, which is going to be interesting to see what happens for like filmmakers moving forward who want to make like mid-tier movies, like movies that cost less than $20 million and have a story to tell.
If I was pitching a comedy right now, I wouldn't even bother. I would go directly to talking to Amazon or Netflix or anything like that. If I was just going to make like a mid, because there's not, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of space for that kind of movie anymore. And they're not making, Crazy Rich Asians, obviously a girl's trip. Occasionally there'll be something that really breaks out hard, but for the most part, nah.
I think Disney's really looking at Fox Searchlight as like the place they'll make theatrical awards bait, for lack of a better word, because those are from great movies. But because you think about Disney, like a few years ago, Disney released Lincoln, right? Well, that's not happening anymore. At least has a movie that under any like Hollywood Pictures or Touchstone, but they've got Fox Searchlight, so they'll still make movies that are like, oh, this could be an Oscar contender. With Spielberg's thing, it's funny. I probably sided with him more than some people, and I saw both sides of it completely, because there are movies, even though I think Netflix has put out a lot of bad movies, they put out some great ones too, but TV movies, even though there's like a stigma with that term, like HBO movies, no one thinks like, oh, crappy HBO movies. There's like amazing stuff. Yeah. It's just that debate of like, well, is it an Emmy nominee or an Oscar nominee? The streaming thing makes it all murky, because streaming it's like its own third category. Yeah. And I don't think that they're going to announce the Streamies or something that'll just be like, there are streaming awards, but they're not going to be on the level of the Emmys and Oscars.
They might be called the Streamies.
I think they are called the Streamies, yeah. But they're not perceived in the way that the Oscars and the Emmys are. So I think that debate will go back and forth. I think we're going to start to see more. Like with Irishman, it was interesting because they couldn't reach that compromise, and Scorsese was he wanted it in AMC theaters. He's not going to get that on this. But I know Dan was saying it's going to still. I think filmmakers like him are still going to push it, and maybe they'll make the month and a half compromise on something. We're going to start to see.
Well, theatrical windows are closing.
Yes, for sure.
So fast. You know what I mean? So I think. Like you're saying, the Streamies might be the Emmys by the time we're old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
if you get these huge stars that are on some of these things to be part of it,
and the more and more the audience like gets mad that movies like Black Panther are like being debated if they should even be nominated for Best Picture when they obviously should be. I think the more and more you're going to see people going like, well, obviously the Oscars isn't in touch with what the audiences are excited about. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, please. That was another astute observation from Riley.
Astute is a good word.
I know words. Why are you acting like I don't know words? All right, and so Disney Plus, one thing that they've announced is they're not going to be they're not going to do the whole big dump. They're going to release all of their episodes weekly.
Yes.
Which I think is frustrating to me because I love a binge watch, but I think for them it's smart because I'm not gonna lie, I definitely got, I subscribed to DC so I could watch the thing I wanted to watch, and then when I was done watching it, bye-bye. Like paid for 1 month, maybe just a free trial. So I think that it's a really smart idea.
Yeah, I think a lot of this networks kind of go back and forth on who does it and who doesn't do it. Like Hulu seems to do it on some shows and not other shows. Like
they do.
Like Handmaid's Tale is every week. But then
Runaways
was every week, and they made it a binge watch second season. So I think it depends on who the audiences for stuff are. I'll say, as someone who covers shows for media, I'm kind of glad for it because it gets really exhausting to every week have to watch like 10 hours of a show to be able to have a conversation and like be able to pitch things and stuff like that. So I'm kind of glad to have this more.
And also, it can only help not only people who make content based upon content, which is like hilarious. Like our parents' generations wouldn't have thought of that. Like, okay, wait a minute. People gonna talk about stuff that they watched, and then other people gonna watch that.
Yeah.
But it's about the sense of community.
We're doing it right now.
I know. but and people like it for a real reason, because every time I see something good, one of the first things I do is go on something like this and listen to people that I trust talk about it and see if everything's congruent and see if they saw things I didn't see, and if I saw something they didn't see, I'll do a little reply guide thing on Twitter nicely. You know what I mean? And it's like that's part of our culture now that we couldn't have perceived. But and I dig what you're saying as far as like when we did the Stranger Things thing, I was breaking my ass trying to watch that whole thing so that I could talk astutely about it. Astute, you infected me. You know what I mean? But also it goes away, like you said. Here's your money, baby. and then that's it. No, you have to come back.
Yeah.
And come back.
Well, and there's
come back to extend the cycle of watching it and discussing it.
There's a class element at play here too with Disney Plus, because they're only charging $7 for this. This isn't
Yeah.
going to be a prestige channel for like media insiders. This is meant to be if like families can afford to have this, and families are like people who have like a lot of kids and have jobs. They're busy. They don't have all the time to just sit and binge watch a show.
Right.
And like this might actually give them the ability to like have a family. Like we can set a night of the week. Like if you have a family that loves Star Wars and it's your whole family thing, now you can actually go, okay, kids, we're gonna Thursday night's gonna be family night to watch The Mandalorian or whatever, you know, or whatever Marvel show you want to watch. We're gonna watch WandaVision because you know how kids love Wanda. So
There's nothing that they love that's about speculative fan fiction featuring two lower tier Avengers.
Hey, but I think that might actually play in their favor of like who their target audience is and what their schedules are like,
Right.
and I think it might actually be a good move for them.
I'll always be old man yelling at cloud about this. I understand that people are like, no, I want it all at once, and I get it. But of course, to your point, yes, on our work side, it's nice to be able to have all those weeks to do more. But also, I really think as a fan, you think you want it all at once, but I think you like it more if you get it longer, even though it doesn't feel that way. And I think Stranger Things is a great example. Stranger Things, if it had aired weekly, would be ending this past week. We would have seen the 8th episode. And I just think, doesn't Stranger Things 3 feel like a million miles away now? It's like, because, oh no, we moved on.
Well, it's in a chamber in Russia. No.
right. But it's like everyone, you know, it's like there is something about that, you know, that speculation, that fun of, did you see last night's episode?
Yeah.
What's going to happen next? We're so excited, and we can talk about for a week everything that just happened, everything that's going to happen.
Well, and it
I
builds
think
significance.
there's fun with that.
Yeah.
It builds significance if we can parse each part in a longer time. It builds the significance of the whole thing. Because, like, to everybody's point, it doesn't seem like the major achievement that it was. It was the 3rd season on a Netflix show, which is like, what?
Yeah, their biggest hit.
They take Netflix shows out behind the barn after 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and this one just said, nah, I ain't going. And they're like, okay, you don't have to. Because it's so awesome. So that's an achievement out of itself. And it's a million miles away, and it's past when it should be still in the public discourse. That's an excellent point.
Well, and I'll say this one last thing, and then we'll move on. We talked about how Game of Thrones was like the last real experience of a bunch of people sitting around wanting the same thing at the same time and tweeting about it.
Great.
And Disney doing this might be more of a return to us being able to sit around.
Marvel and MCU.
They got Marvel and MCU, so this might be another one where it's like, sorry if you didn't watch it that night, but you're about to get spoiled. Spoilers, Vision and Wanda make out or whatever. All right. Make sure to like
and Darcy watches.
That got dark. Make sure to like and
Randall Park was
subscribe.
there?
We are on smash that bell. You've got to put that in a different place, Ryan, because I could hear your hand hitting it. Oh, you like it? Is it the only way you can feel?
Only way you can feel.
Ryan Noir over there.
That's his Halloween costume. Hey, it's Ryan's birthday. Happy birthday, Ryan!
Happy birthday! Well done. All right.
We wouldn't have yelled at the chair so much if we had known you were doing it.
All right. So we've got some other, if you're looking for some more D23 coverage, we did send Eric down to Anaheim to go check that out. And so we got other videos. There was one on Friday, then we did one yesterday. So go ahead and check out all of our D23 coverage.
Friday was funny because they were doing the video here, so I was like, on Slack, I was like, here's what you should talk about.
Nice.
We were having good discourse.
Discourse.
Yes.
Discourse.
Astute discourse.
You guys should have been on Discord because it's similar words.
All right. Speaking of D23, we've got some animation updates. This is via Disney folks at D23. We learned about 2 new Pixar movies next year, Onward, which has already released a trailer, and Soul, which is opening in the summer. And so the first footage shown of Soul, which is about a middle-aged high school teacher voiced by Jamie Foxx, finally gets to his big break to play at his favorite jazz club, only to fall down a manhole and super-duper die. Now a bodiless soul, this sounds so funny. Now a bodiless soul, Joe returns to the You seminar where your soul is trained before its next life. He wanted to go back to the life that he had. And so he goes on a journey with Tina Fey, who doesn't want to return to Earth at all. This also features Questlove, Felicia Richard, America's mom, and David Diggs, who, for those of you who don't know, he was really big in Hamilton. It was a play.
And also Blackish and Otherish.
Also Blackish and,
The Ishverse.
Yeah, the Ishverse universe.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is. There's 3 shows now.
There are.
I prefer to call it the universe-ish.
They did I think they did D23. I think had an ish panel, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. The groans, the mixed, the blacks. So there's going to be original jazz songs. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are going to be doing the score. And so basically it's about, the soul is about, why am I here? Where did I come from? And what am I here for? Classic Pixar things that kids love talking about. Actually looks really good. I'm really excited for it.
This is not the first time that Pixar movies have been a deep look into one's soul.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, it's almost just like, hey, like those moments in Toy Story 3 where they're about to fall into the fire pit? What if we made a whole movie out of that exact scene? And I'm into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, Pixar's been really big on tackling themes like death in like a deeper way than other places do. Do you think it's good that they're exposing kids to these concepts and questions? I think it's great because
I love it.
It starts good conversation. It's something that, if you have 4 quadrants, it hits for something for literally everyone. Plus, I remember when I was a kid and, Sesame Street, they're teaching me about death and all those other things. I think kids are smarter about those concepts than we often give them credit for.
I think that having exposure to media that deals with stuff in a way that kids can process is healthy for kids. And I think that it helps you build tools to then cope with those things later on in life. Like I am the generation that was already an adult when Harry Potter came out, but I know a lot of kids who, like, because of the Harry Potter series and because of what happened to Fred Weasley and stuff like that, they can refer to that and have emotional language for it. And as a kid, for me, I think that we've had even more exposure to stuff like that. Like, I think I was used to there being really dark and kind of scary things for kids to watch and being really into that kind of stuff. That's why I was so into like Labyrinth and like there was like legit fear for what was going to happen to Sara in that movie. And I think this kind of stuff is good for that.
Yeah, they managed just to walk that line, and they do it so well because, of course, they make lovable characters, and you've got Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey, and there's going to be funny banter between them, while also getting pretty heavy, but not like a somber movie. That's what they managed to do so well. Is that it's like, whoa, there was some really deep stuff, and there's a moment, like Toy Story 3 and other movies where it's like, oh, that's super sad, but it's not like 90 minutes of sadness. They managed to weave it in a pretty amazing way, I think.
That's right. Cry it out, kiddos.
And Coco was a movie about the afterlife.
Yes.
And that was I cried like crazy at it.
That is 90 minutes of me crying.
What's the movie with the emotion?
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Inside Out. I was about to say In and Out. Faux pas.
That's a different movie.
That's a Kevin Kline movie.
It's a conservative.
Also a great kids movie, though.
It is.
Teaching kids a lot of things.
But yeah, I was Inside Out. Inside Out meets like Coco. If I was just some venal executive trying to get my friend in the elevator to like it and go in the room with me and talk to the old man about it, inevitably an old man, about it, then that's what I would say. And that is like a perfect blend of like kids are okay with like Coco. They understand the concept of like these people are dead, but you really die if no one remembers you and stuff like that. That's heavy.
Yeah.
If I was a kid, I would be like, I think I would have thought about legacy at 8.
Even I have to pass down my genes to my progeny.
Someone must remember me.
Inside Out's a great example too. It's a movie that literally says to kids like, "Hey, sometimes you just get really sad, and that's just kind of how it has to be sometimes."
Yeah, and it
that's
isn't
just part of
something
your
that
life.
needs to be banished.
Yeah.
Because you attempting to banish it with substances and different stuff, it's bad. You have to feel things. Don't make yourself not feel things, because then that leads down to a horrible path.
It also reminds me a lot of my favorite movie, which is Defending Your Life. So I'm excited for kids to have their own Defending Your Life. I watched that as a kid, and I loved it. So I think same thing.
Defending Your Life's been getting some real play on the SJU.
But it's a perfect movie about like these sorts of things. I like these things because they do they ask an audience to consider what life is, what it's about, what's really important. These are what art should do, So I think that's really cool, especially for kids.
Well done, art. And so they've also got some 2020 releases. There's Riya and the Last Dragon, which is not a cartoon version of The Last Dragon, so I already don't want to talk about it. There's some beautiful imagery, at least according to one Eric Goldman.
It was beautiful.
With the nearly photorealistic trees and rain, and it takes place in a world created by dragons, and the hero goes searching for the last dragon, who again does not wind up being Leroy Green.
Awkwafina.
Awkwafina is there. Are we looking forward to? There's a lot of fantasy that Disney is in, because Onward is also a fantasy.
Frozen 2 is a fantasy. It looks like.
Yeah. Are we looking forward to Disney kind of exploring more this fantasy stuff?
I was really impressed by what they showed us from this movie. Just it was like very like sort of this. She's in the rain. It's like pouring around her. And she's got this hat on, dripping down, and it looked really intense in a really cool way. And it felt like and she seems like a really cool hero. She got that cool bladed weapon. I was like, there's gonna be some cosplayers.
And also the Studio Ghibli of it. You know what I mean?
No, it does feel like a big influence from that with this. And I think, the thing about Disney is funny. I saw some people's comments on this, which were like, "Oh, wow, an actual original idea from Disney, not a sequel, not a remake." I'm like, but their animation, that's what I know that there was a Wreck-It Ralph sequel and Frozen 2 is coming, but that's still, most of the stuff they're doing in animation is original concept, especially Walt Disney Studios in the past few years, Zootopia, Moana. So I think they're on a kind of a pretty cool roll right now.
Can we see this thing? I was looking at the notes when it came up. I just wanted to get an idea of the visuals of it. So is it...
There's concept art. That's not the final art.
Okay, because I actually would love it if Disney, with having Disney Plus especially and having that element, I would love if Disney would actually go back to trying some 2D animation again.
Yeah.
Now that they have an avenue where it's a little bit safer to do it, because there is some beautiful work that can be done with it. And I got excited for a second that maybe this was going to be happening with this.
Yeah, it's digital animation, but I do agree with you, especially with having Disney Plus, that maybe, they'll, even if it's just shorts at first, it's like, let's dip our toes back in there.
Yeah.
I would love to reintroduce that aesthetic. That's all I'm going to say about it. If we would subtly reintroduce that aesthetic so that people can see why you like Lady the Champ so much and this uncanny valley weirdness.
I just, again, like I said, I don't think I'm going to go see the Dogs with F.I.'s movie, but I probably will because everyone will be.
It'll be on your TV.
So you don't have to go anywhere. Just lay on your couch.
All right.
But Princess and the Frog has been on Netflix recently, and I'm like watching it over and over again. I'm like, God, I wish they would make more like this again.
Yeah.
They play well.
Send me my check, Disney. We've got one more thing.
You got docked, though.
I'm getting docked. All right. So how much would you pay to stay in a Star Wars spaceship hotel? If that is a thing, that is an option to you. This is via Disney. So at D23, we learned details about the upcoming Star Wars hotel that is coming to Walt Disney World. Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser will feature a 2-night itinerary where all guests arrive and depart together. Gross. Similar to Disney Cruise Line. Don't tell me what to do. The experience is meant to be completely immersive. So once you check in at a building at Disney World, you are transported to the hotel itself via a pod. So probably a bus or a van or something.
But once you're inside, it won't look like it.
Yeah, like a fancy with,
It will be a space pod.
Yeah. Like they showed, like when you look, I think the first image we actually had of the family was of that. It's like you're looking out the windows, but you're not seeing Orlando, you're seeing space as you're going to the ship.
Space. All right, and so you're going to be able to visit various. Oh, okay, it's a van. You're going to be able to visit various areas from cantinas to the bridge. There is lightsaber training using remotes. There are simulated attacks from enemy ships. You will encounter familiar characters. They haven't revealed the price yet, but WDW News Today said that their sources told them pricing for a 2-night stay starts at $3,300 for one person. Cabins do sleep up to 5 passengers, so there's also the option of maxing out the cabin occupancy for like maybe cheaper. That is so much money.
It is.
And
it's true, and it's probably not going to be that untrue. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this is a graduation present. This is this is a honeymoon. I guess if you're rich, you can just go every week or whatever. Just like, I don't know, get a house there. Get a
house.
Some
get
people,
a pod.
Yeah, get a pod. Just rent it like you would a penthouse. So this is one of those ones where it's like I don't even feel weird weighing in because I'm never going to do that. I can't afford that. So to even be like, are you excited about it? This thing I'm never going to see?
Well, it's like when they bring out the new Aston Martin and they're like, look at all these features. I don't care. It can have 100 cup holders. I ain't gonna never put my cup in there. Who cares?
I guess the question is because they're basically treating it like a cruise line, except you're not actually going anywhere. But it's a role.
You're going to space.
You're going to space, and that's the thing. It's like, of course, they're going to go all in on this. They're going to make this like sort of, I'm sure, an incredible experience. It's just like, are you willing to spend the money you might have spent if you did indulge in a cruise ship instead? On a spaceship that's not actually
more
flying to
expensive
space.
than a cruise.
Yeah, because a cruise is like maybe it'd be $3,000, but it would be for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it'd be for weeks to go. Yeah, go exploit some population anyway. But you know what I mean. I feel like this right here. Again, you know what I would pay that amount for? total immersion.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bump into any tourists that are as fat as me. I'm Porkins in this universe. I'm Porkins. I jump in my spaceship.
I haven't got old. I survived.
Yeah, I'm going to pay that amount of money. I got 4 hours of flight time I got to do before I drink my blue milk. Then I got to, you know what I mean? I would pay for a space camp situation, but not to walk around with a bunch of other fatties looking at stuff. No, I'm not going to pay you $4,000 for that, bro. No.
It does feel like we are just like one step away from Westworld at this point. Like it feels like this, like very much like we're all going to be living in this thing. I don't know. Like I think the same thing.
Don't
Like,
touch the droids.
I don't want to bump into other tourists, and like I don't want to be at like the Cantina bar and some like angry dad from like the Midwest is there complaining about something and ruining the environment, the experience for me. Like I feel the same way about it. And I look. In my heart of hearts, 100% I want to go to this. I do. I absolutely want to go to this so badly. I agree with you, but I will never have the money to do that. Like, that is just not in my wheelhouse.
And when I have the money, I might not have the money. My dad used to say that. If I had the money, I wouldn't have the money.
Yeah, I love everything about this. It's completely in my ballpark. I hope that they change eventually and offer a one-night option, because I think that 2-night commitment's the other thing. Is like, you can't even be like, I'm going to really spring for this for one night. It's like, no, you have to commit to the 2-night thing. I wonder if they'll change that as time goes on, because it's like, okay, if I could get a group of 5 people together and we're going to go in on one night, I think that might be more reasonable, because everything about this sounds up my alley, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, agreed on that. Just make it a little bit more immersive, a little more space camp. I might save up.
I don't know if we're there yet with the windows. Like, I think like the screen does windows. I think that every time I'm at somewhere that uses like an LED screen or something to pretend like we're looking at another universe or something, you can tell it's a screen. So I would want it to be a little better technology, because I think that if I was in a room and the window was a screen, like a monitor showing a planet or whatever outside, that would uncanny valley me, and I would feel like I would be weird the whole time.
Yeah, I wonder if it might be closer to, if you've ever done the Universal tour where they take you through certain spots, and at one point you're in Fast and the Furious, and Tyrese is like, hold on, we gotta go be Fast and Furious. And it's like, and you can't use cameras or anything because outside it's a projected hologram, and I wonder if it could be something like that, where it'll be its own special hallway.
That gives motion
and that takes you through.
I get motion sickness on that ride. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, wow.
On that ride, or like that's why I haven't wanted to ride the new Jurassic Park ride, because the first thing you do is go through like a tank with like.
I was gonna say though, that looks great. Okay. Like the first thing you do is go through the never know how to say the Minosaurus, whatever the big underwater dino is, and it looks pretty damn good as far as like, because they've got they have what's obviously film of actual fishes with their CGI dinosaur, and it's pretty effective what they do.
All right, so Eric, you had a couple of other quick tidbits from D23.
Did. Thank you for indulging me. I'm a theme park junkie, and there's a bunch of stuff we're not going to talk a bunch about. But yeah, at D23, because they talked about the Avengers ride coming to DCA, California Adventure, the Spider-Man ride coming. There's that whole Avengers campus, and of course they had merch, which I was running around looking at, and I couldn't buy it all, but I bought a few things. And JT, if you could throw up, just that there was like that. Oh, first of all, that's the model of the spaceship, by the way, like that they had. And I don't know, is that what the building's going to look like? Like that'll be kind of amazing.
I wonder if it's going to be like Star Trek, where it's just a big warehouse, like it's like a set, but like you don't know it because you're inside of it.
Right.
Like, no, this is what it looks like. It's just this.
Right.
But was that Millennium Falcon for scale?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, because it'd be cool if you could like, okay, we got Millennium Falcon. Like you got to sign up for. My girlfriend is trying to go to Disneyland, and you got to sign up for the cantina. To go into the cantina.
Yeah.
She's gonna go into the cantina at 8:30 a.m. because that's all that's available.
Right.
But maybe like 3:32 to 3:34 p.m. a.m. You can go down to the Millennium Falcon and do the turret.
And part
you gotta go back
of
to your
staying
pod.
at the hotel is of going to Galaxy's Edge for a day trip. It's
Nice.
like that'll be part of what you're doing, and
Nice.
Falcon's there.
I was wondering with that because going to Disney World is very expensive.
Yes.
And I feel like it would suck to go to, hey, I'm going to Disney World, but I'm not going to go to the parks at all because I'm spending $3,000 to be locked into a hotel for this amount of time.
They didn't get into this, but I'm assuming if you pay for the hotel and you can go to Galaxy's Edge anyway, you can then walk around the other parts of the park. You're not like forbidden to.
Yeah.
It's just do you want to keep yourself in Star Wars for 2 days, or do you want to venture
Star Wars church lock-in.
I'm all in on Star Wars.
It's overnight skate, guys.
That's all I want.
Sorry, I know you moved on, but
Yeah, no. And then the other thing is, so this is like merch for the Spider-Man ride that's not going to be out for a couple years. I might have bought some of this stuff. There's the Avengers campus stuff. It all looked really cool. The Spider-Man ride looked really cool. The Avengers ride, which is you're going to fly to Wakanda and take part in some big battle.
Nice.
We'll see what happens. And then episode 9, you can already buy, of course, all the stuff there. I tried to resist all this, but I gave in on a lot of it. And then I think the last couple things we have is Mandalorian, of course, and then one thing that's really here for Billy because one more Avengers Campus thing. Billy always wears a Spider-Man animated shirt, and they have Marvel 80th stuff.
Oh,
and
cool!
That was pretty cool, I thought. So yeah, they know their merch there. And then the last thing I was gonna show, of course, they gave out a lot of free posters and stuff. And the only one I snagged was a Simpsons one. All weekend there was a lot of Simpsons at D23. Like you'd hear Simpsons music playing. The characters are everywhere because they're part of Disney. If you look, Bart's trying to shoot down Tinkerbell there. So it's kind of like just processing. The Simpsons is part of Disney now.
Yeah.
Welcome synergy. Exactly.
All right, we'll do our final story. Speaking of squadding up, Nathan Fillion squad goals. Very, very great headline there, Ryan. That's Eric. Well done. That is via Deadline. Deadline has reported that Nathan Fillion and Steve Agee have. Is it Agee or Agee? I always mess it up. Agee. That's what I thought. Yeah. Have joined James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Agee will voice King Shark. Fillion's role is being kept under wraps. Catman, be Catman.
Be the Catman you were meant to be.
I needed to be Catman. So Fillion has a long history of working with Gunn, including Slither and Super and voice work in Guardians of the Galaxy. Agee worked with Gunn on Guardians 2. And so far, what we know of the Suicide Squad cast includes returning members Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. We've got Rick Flag. We've got new cast members. We've got Idris Elba. We have someone playing Polka Dot Man. We've got Ratcatcher. It's a really fun movie, y'all. Does this make you more excited for his take on Suicide Squad, or?
I mean, so far, it's a really cool combo, obviously, seeing James Gunn take on these characters, and of course it makes sense he'll bring some of his buddies. That's what he does.
That's what they all do.
Yeah. Fillion, by the way, is the lead on an ABC show, so time-wise I'm guessing his commitment can't be too big on this, so I wouldn't expect him to have a large role.
Maybe another voice role too.
It could be a voice role. It's also Suicide Squad, and I think Gunn will have even more fun. What was the man who could climb anything in the first one?
Slipknot.
Slipknot, which was such a goofed about thing. But I think Gunn's going to have a lot of fun with the fact that a lot of these guys aren't going to make it back and could be taken out at any time.
Yeah.
And so I think, who knows, Fillion could be like some badass hero for 15 minutes.
I definitely hope it's not Catman. Because every scene is going to be about dude, okay, I kicked it with lions and stuff, not like regular cats, like lions and tigers and stuff. That's the cats I'm talking about, dude. You know what I mean? Every scene is that. And him trying to prove that he's about big cats, not little cats.
Well, and it's also him. It's a lot of Suicide Squad, at least certain runs, are very much about him becoming into his role as being a hero and being a leader. And then, yes, also explaining his cat thing.
His cat thing.
All right, well, I think that explaining his cat thing is probably the best thing that we're going to end on today.
Cat thing.
So,
that was an astute.
Oh my God.
Thank y'all so much. With their honest trailers are up. Honest trailer commentaries will be up tomorrow. I'll see y'all later. Cat thing. Bye.
It's a cat thing.